The message from the Galaxy Council arrived without warning. It appeared on every human screen, every ship display, and every colony station. At first, people thought it was a mistake. The Council had always acted slow and careful, and it never sent galaxy-wide messages so suddenly. But this time, it did. Every viewer saw the hologram of the tall Council speaker with the pale silver eyes. The Council speaker announced that the Galaxy Council had agreed to begin a war against humanity. The message continued for several minutes, explaining false reasons, old worries, and imagined dangers. The Council ended the message with strict words, saying humanity must prepare for the consequences. When the message ended, there was silence for a single heartbeat. Then something happened that no alien world had expected. Humans laughed. The reaction began in small groups at first. A few people on Earth laughed because they thought the Council must be joking. Some crew members on the exploration vessel Horizon Dawn looked at each other with confused smiles. But within minutes, the laughter spread across the entire network. Families in distant colonies, engineers in orbital stations, and researchers in deep space all responded the same way. They started laughing because the situation felt too strange to be real. Admiral Laura Bennett stood on the bridge of Horizon Dawn when the message ended. She was a calm, focused person who rarely raised her voice. She had seen many strange events during her service, but nothing as unexpected as a formal war declaration based on nothing but fear and misunderstanding. At her side stood Captain Ryan Carter. Ryan was younger, thoughtful, and known for staying level-headed even in stressful moments. He watched the Council message disappear from the screen and then slowly turned to Laura. He did not know what to say at first. The message was dramatic, loud, and full of accusations. It did not match reality at all. Humanity had spent many years trying to help smaller worlds solve conflicts through peaceful talks. Humans had also tried to stop trading disputes between Council members who could not agree on anything. Humanity did not start conflicts. Humanity did not demand new territory. So why would the Council declare war? Ryan opened his mouth to speak, but one of the junior crew members, a communications technician named Lily Myers, laughed first. It was not rude or disrespectful laughter. It was confused laughter, a laugh born from being shocked by something unbelievable. Lily covered her mouth and apologized, but the sound spread. The entire bridge crew began laughing too, and finally even Laura smiled. She understood the reaction. Humans often laughed when life surprised them. They laughed when things were complicated. They laughed when they needed to release stress. The Council did not understand this at all, and that misunderstanding made everything even more unreal. Across Earth, the laughter spread even further. News channels played the Council message over and over. People who had just finished normal daily tasks stopped what they were doing. Students walking across campuses watched the message on holographic screens and laughed at the idea that humanity, among all species, had been labeled as a threat. Families in city centers looked up at public displays and shook their heads. They were not laughing because they felt strong or powerful. They were laughing because the message did not match the truth of how humans lived. The truth was simple. Humans had grown stronger in science and exploration, yes. They had made progress in energy systems, propulsion, and defensive systems. But these technologies were not designed for conquest. They were created so that humans could travel safely, protect their colonies from dangers like cosmic storms, and make life easier for everyone. Humanity had spent the last century working on peaceful development and cooperation. Laura Bennett walked across the bridge slowly, thinking deeply. She did not laugh for long. She understood that behind the strange message, something serious was happening. The Galaxy Council had never acted like this before. Something must have pushed them into making this decision. She stood beside the main display as Ryan Carter slowly regained his composure. He ran a hand through his hair and let out a long breath. He looked toward Laura, with concern in his eyes. He understood the weight of the situation as well. He spoke quietly so only she could hear. The crew is laughing now, but this could become serious if we do not understand what is going on. Someone must be behind this. Laura nodded. She had already begun thinking the same thing. For many years, some factions inside the council had disliked humans quietly. They often expressed worry that humanity's growth might influence other species. Humans were known for adapting quickly to challenges, and some council members feared this adaptability. They feared that humans might challenge old traditions or outdated rules. But none of those concerns had ever led to something as dramatic as a war declaration. Laura turned to the main console and ordered the ship's systems to begin scanning for additional messages. She wanted to see if the council had sent anything else. Ryan asked Lily to check communications traffic across nearby sectors. If this was a planned council action, there might be additional signals or troop movements, but the screens showed nothing unusual. It almost looked like the council had made the announcement alone, without preparing for anything afterward. Ryan let out a quiet laugh again. They expect us to prepare for something that does not even make sense. Laura agreed quietly. Yes, but we must still understand their reasons. Elsewhere in the galaxy, the reaction was very different from human laughter. Some alien species were confused. Others were afraid. Some believed the council must have evidence that humans had done something dangerous. Many alien citizens watched the message and wondered why humans were not protesting loudly or sending messages back in fear. They did not understand the reaction because they did not understand the human mind. Humanity had learned to understand hardship through history. Humans had survived natural disasters, unhealthy environments, and moments of great stress. They had learned to respond to strange news with humor because humor helped them stay calm. This was something the council never studied or tried to understand. Back on Earth, analysts and historians began discussing the situation. Some news hosts tried to explain why humans reacted the way they did. A historian named Dr. Olivia Grant appeared on several broadcasts to talk about human nature. She explained that humans had faced so many problems across time that they had developed a kind of emotional flexibility. They knew how to laugh at impossible situations because laughter helped them stay hopeful. Olivia told the audiences that the council misread this reaction. The council probably believed humans were mocking them, but that was far from the truth. Meanwhile, inside the council chambers, several members were completely shocked. Their message had been accepted by every other species, with fear and obedience. But humans had responded with a reaction no one predicted. Some council members felt insulted, thinking humans were acting proud or careless. Others felt confused because they expected humans to panic. The council speaker who sent the message felt pressure from the other species, who asked what humanity would do next. But humanity did not send threats. Humanity did not send ships. Humanity did not demand answers. Humanity simply laughed, and then began gathering information. Back aboard Horizon Dawn, Laura and Ryan held a private meeting in the ship's observation chamber. The room had a clear view of the stars outside. Ryan sat quietly across from her, thinking deeply. Laura tapped slowly on a small tablet, reviewing old council decisions. She wanted to know if there had been signs that something like this might happen. Ryan spoke first. "Do you think the council truly wants war?" Laura shook her head. "No. The council is slow and divided. It does not move together unless someone pushes it. Someone is behind this message." Ryan nodded slowly. "Then we need to find out who." Laura looked around the observation chamber at the large star map on the wall. Humans had traveled far over the years and had built relationships with dozens of species. Some species trusted humans deeply. Others were unsure. But none had ever expected something like this to happen. She thought about the kind species they had helped before. She remembered the small communities of the Lithari, who admired human curiosity. She remembered the peaceful communities of the Dalin, who welcomed human teachers into their schools. She thought about how hard humanity worked to protect peace. The idea that humans wanted war was completely opposite to everything she believed. The announcement from the council was not just wrong. It was dangerous. And Laura knew that misunderstanding, fear, and false information could destroy peaceful relations if left unchecked. The Horizon Dawn moved quietly through space, while its crew gathered more information. Ryan walked through the ship's corridors, listening to small conversations. Some crew members were nervous. Some were still laughing because the situation felt unreal. Others tried to stay calm by focusing on their duties. Despite the strange message, the crew felt unified. They believed humanity could handle whatever came next. They trusted Laura and Ryan to make good decisions. Ryan stopped in front of a window and looked out into the stars. The galaxy was wide, filled with unknown places and different species. Humanity had worked so hard to become a part of that galaxy. Now, a misunderstanding threatened everything. Ryan thought about humanity's long journey. He remembered reading about old times when humans had not always been united. He remembered learning about the moments when humanity almost destroyed itself. But humans had learned from those mistakes. They had changed. They had grown wiser. And Ryan believed that the galaxy still did not understand how different humans had become. Laura returned to the bridge later that day. She had spent many hours reviewing old records and reports. When she arrived, Ryan walked over to her. "Did you find anything?" he asked. Laura nodded slowly. "I found signs of unusual movements inside the council during the last few years. There were hidden meetings, changed reports, and sudden decisions that did not match normal council behavior. I think someone has been trying to push the council toward this moment." Ryan felt a chill run through him. This confirmed his instincts. A council-wide decision could not happen this fast, unless someone had been planning it. Laura looked at the crew around her. They were waiting for her direction. She spoke calmly. "We will not respond with fear. We will not respond with anger. We will understand the truth first." Ryan nodded firmly. "And we will show the galaxy who humans really are." The laughter that had spread across human worlds began to fade. Not because humans were scared, but because they were ready to understand the truth. They had reacted with humor first, but now they were ready to respond with clarity. Humanity stood at the beginning of a strange crisis. The Galaxy Council had announced a war that humans did not want. Yet humans were not afraid. They were curious. They were alert, and above all, they were united. Laura Bennett looked at the stars through the main display and felt a quiet certainty form in her heart. Someone had pushed the council into fear. Someone wanted to turn the galaxy against humans. But they had made one mistake. They underestimated humanity. And humanity was about to show them why that was a mistake they would not forget. The days after the council's message passed slowly for humanity. People talked about the strange announcement everywhere. Some still laughed when they remembered the dramatic tone of the message. Others felt uneasy because they did not understand the council's reason. But overall, humans stayed calm. They waited for more information, and they trusted their leaders to find the truth. On the horizon dawn, Admiral Laura Bennett continued to study old council records. Her desk was filled with digital documents, old reports, and coded messages. She worked quietly, thinking deeply. Captain Ryan Carter visited her office several times each day to offer updates from the crew. He understood that she wanted to uncover the real reason behind the council's decision. One morning, Ryan walked into her office holding a small datapad. He looked serious. "We received new information," he said. "It is from one of our contacts in the Dallin territories. She says the council is divided." Laura lifted her head. "What does she mean by divided?" "She says not all council members agreed with the declaration. Some did not even know it was going to be announced. It looks like a few powerful members made the decision and forced the rest to follow." Laura leaned back in her chair. "That means our suspicion is correct. Someone inside the council is pushing for this." Ryan nodded slowly. "Yes. And we need to find out who." Laura stood up and walked to the display wall in her office. She touched the screen, showing the image of the Galaxy Council chamber. She pointed at the high seats where the main leaders usually sat. "These leaders have been in power for a long time," she said. "They make decisions slowly. They argue often. They usually ask for months of discussion before any action. But this time, they announced something as serious as war, without even asking for human input. This calm." She turned toward Ryan. "That is not normal. Someone wanted a fast decision. And someone wanted the council to act without thinking." Ryan agreed. He also felt uneasy about the speed of the announcement. The council never moved fast unless there was a real emergency. But nothing unusual had happened involving humans. Humans had not entered new territory. They had not broken any agreements. They had not interfered with council operations. So, why act now? Ryan walked back to the bridge while Laura continued her research. The bridge crew was working quietly, studying communication channels and scanning council-controlled areas. Lily Myers looked up from her station when Ryan entered. "Captain," she said, "I found something strange in council communication patterns." Ryan stepped closer. "What is it?" "It looks like several council members are trying to contact others privately. But their messages are being blocked. They send requests, but the messages never reach their targets." Ryan frowned. "Blocked by who?" Lily shook her head. "We don't know yet. But someone inside the council is controlling the flow of information." This was important. The council was known for slow, open debate. If someone was blocking communication, it meant a hidden force was trying to control the council's decisions. Ryan thanked Lily and reported the information to Laura. She listened carefully. "Then we need more evidence," she said. "If we can understand who is blocking the messages, we might understand why." Meanwhile, on human colonies and Earth, life continued normally, but people stayed alert. Humans were good at adapting to strange situations. They talked with neighbors, listened to news broadcasts, and waited for guidance from their leaders. Dr. Olivia Grant appeared on a popular news show to explain humanity's reaction again. She spoke in calm, simple words. She said that humans did not laugh because they were ignoring danger. They laughed because something unexpected had happened, and laughter helped humans stay strong and collected. She also warned that the council might misunderstand this reaction. She said humans must communicate clearly to avoid further confusion. Her message comforted many people. They felt that humanity had wise voices guiding them, even in uncertain times. Back on Horizon Dawn, Laura asked Daniel Ford, the ship's intelligence officer, to join her in the observation chamber. Daniel was known for his careful thinking and ability to connect small clues into larger pictures. He carried a small notebook where he wrote ideas, even though most people used digital tools. He said writing helped him think. He sat down across from Laura. "You said you found something unusual," he said softly. Laura nodded. "Yes. There are gaps in council messages, missing reports, blank sections. It almost looks like someone erased information." Daniel looked at the star map glowing on the wall. "Someone wants the galaxy to believe humanity is a threat. That means someone fears what humans represent." Laura looked at him closely. "What do we represent?" Daniel did not hesitate. "Change." That word stayed in the air for a moment. Daniel continued. "Other species respect humans because humans grow quickly. They change quickly. They learn from mistakes faster than most. If humans continue to grow, they might challenge the old systems. Some leaders fear losing control." Laura understood now. So if someone wants to keep power, they must make humans look dangerous. Quote, Daniel nodded. "Yes. And if they can convince the rest of the galaxy that humans are a threat, they can gain more control." Laura felt a heavy weight settle in her mind. The council's decision might not be about humans at all. It might be about power. Later that day, Laura called Ryan and the rest of the senior officers to a quiet meeting room. The crew entered the room slowly. Ryan sat beside Laura. Lily, Daniel, and a few others joined them. Laura looked around the small group and spoke clearly. "We know the council's decision was influenced by a hidden group. This group wants to create fear. They want the galaxy to believe that humans will cause trouble. But we know that is not true." The officers listened closely. Laura continued, "We must not react with anger or fear. We must respond with clarity. We must show the galaxy the truth." Ryan leaned forward. "So what is our next step?" Laura studied each officer's face. "We gather more evidence. We talk to our allies. And when we understand the full picture, We will send our own message to the galaxy. The officers agreed. They knew this mission was important. They knew humanity depended on them. Over the next few days, Horizon Dawn traveled to peaceful star systems. They met with trusted allies like the Lithari and the Dahlin. The Lithari ambassador, a thin and gentle being named Ralin, met with Laura and Ryan aboard the ship. Ralin had always admired human curiosity, and he was worried when he heard the Council's announcement. He spoke slowly, in a soft voice. We do not understand the Council's message. Humans have never threatened anyone. Why would the Council say this? Ryan explained everything they had learned so far. He told Raylan about the blocked communications and missing reports. Raylan listened with deep concern. When Ryan finished, Raylan said, "If what you say is true, then someone is using the Council for personal power. This will harm the entire galaxy, not just humans." Laura asked, "Will your people support us when we send a message to the galaxy?" Raylan nodded. "We will support truth. We want peace, not fear." This gave Laura hope. Next, Horizon Dawn traveled to Dahlin territory. The Dahlin ambassador, a calm and friendly figure named Arlo, welcomed them warmly. Arlo had worked with humans for years and trusted them completely. When Laura explained the situation, Arlo became thoughtful. "The Council has been uneasy for some time," he said. "Some members have been pushing for more control. They say the galaxy is becoming too open, too free. They fear change." Laura asked gently, "Do you believe humans are the reason for their fear?" Arlo smiled softly. "I think they fear what humans inspire. Humans give smaller worlds hope. Humans show that change is possible. That frightens those who want to keep the old ways." Laura thanked Arlo and promised to keep him updated. She felt more certain now. The Council's announcement was not truly about war, it was about fear of change. When Horizon Dawn left Dahlin space, the crew felt more confident. They had allies who supported them. They had clues that pointed toward the truth. They only needed to finish gathering information. One evening, Ryan walked alone through the quiet halls of the ship. He stopped at a window and looked at the stars. They were bright and calm, stretching endlessly across the dark sky. He thought about humanity's long journey. He thought about how far humans had come, from old conflicts on Earth to peaceful cooperation across the galaxy. He believed humanity had earned a place among the stars. He whispered softly, "We will show them who we really are." Laura also felt determined. She knew that the next step would be important. They needed a way to speak directly to the galaxy. They needed to share the truth. And they needed to do it calmly and clearly, so no one misunderstood. The crew prepared for the next phase. Communication systems were checked. Reports were gathered. Messages from allies were organized. Daniel continued to write clues in his notebook. Lily watched the communication channels for any new movement from the Council. Finally, Laura felt ready. She called Ryan to her office. He entered quietly and stood beside her. "We have everything we need," she said. "It is time to tell the galaxy the truth." Ryan nodded. "Are you ready?" Laura took a deep breath. "Yes, humanity is ready too." And so, the Horizon Dawn set its course for the central communication grid, where they would prepare a message that could reach every world in the Council, a message that would change everything. The Horizon Dawn moved quietly toward the central communication grid. This place was used by the Galaxy Council to send messages across many systems. The grid was protected, but humans had permission to use it because they were still recognized as Council members, at least officially. No one expected that the ship would arrive to speak to the entire galaxy. Admiral Laura Bennett stood on the bridge, watching the grid grow larger on the screen. It looked like a cluster of floating rings made of shining metal, each filled with transmitters that could send a signal across thousands of light years. The rings turned slowly, glowing with soft blue light. Captain Ryan Carter stepped beside Laura. He looked calm, but Laura could see the focus in his eyes. The entire crew was preparing for what they would do next. This message would reach every world, every ship, every leader. It had to be clear, simple, and honest. Ryan asked quietly. "Are you ready to speak?" Laura nodded. "Yes. But truth must be more than words. We must show the galaxy who we really are." Ryan understood. Humanity never wanted to frighten anyone. Humans only wanted peace and cooperation. And now, they needed to show that clearly. Lily Myers worked at her station, running tests on the grid connection. She spoke with calm focus. "Admiral, all systems are ready. We can connect to the grid whenever you give the order." Daniel Ford entered the bridge with his notebook in hand. He had been writing all morning. When Laura looked at him, he said, "I think the galaxy is ready to listen. They are confused right now. They want answers. If we give the truth in a simple way, they will understand." Laura was thankful for Daniel's steady thinking. She turned back to the screen and said, "Begin the connection." The Horizon Dawn sent a quiet signal. For a moment, the grid stayed still. Then, one by one, the rings lit up. A clear tone traveled through the ship as the communication doors opened. Laura stepped forward so the camera could see her. She stood tall, calm, and steady. Her uniform was simple, without any display of power or force. She wanted the galaxy to see a peaceful human, not a proud one. Lily lifted her hand. "Connection ready. You may speak now." Laura took a slow breath. Then she began. "To every world in the galaxy," she said, "humanity wishes peace. We received the Council's message. We heard their words. And we understand that many of you are confused or afraid. We want to tell you that humans do not seek conflict. We do not seek control. We do not seek to harm anyone. We only want cooperation and shared understanding." Her voice was clear, simple, and calm. No one who heard it would feel threatened. Laura continued. "Many of you know humans well. You know we help small communities. You know we share our knowledge. You know we study, explore, and learn. We build bridges, not walls." Across many star systems, thousands of species watched her. Some were small, some large, some gentle, some cautious. But all of them listened. Laura said, "We have discovered that the Council's message did not represent all Council members. Some voices were blocked. Some reports were hidden. Someone inside the Council wanted to create fear. Someone wanted to make humanity look like a danger. But fear does not help anyone. Fear only creates more confusion." In the Council chamber far away, some members watched Laura's message with wide eyes. They had never heard a human speak with such quiet strength. Laura continued, "We do not blame you. We know fear spreads fast when information is incomplete. We only ask that you look at the truth with open eyes and see that humanity has not done what the Council claimed." She lifted her hands softly. "Humanity laughs, not because we do not care, but because laughter is our way of staying calm when life surprises us. Our laughter is not a weapon. It is not a sign of pride. It is simply part of who we are." Her words were honest, simple, and soft. They reached people in a way that complicated speeches never could. Ryan watched from the side, feeling proud. He could see messages already appearing on the grid. Worlds were responding. Ships were asking questions. Many were asking for the truth. Laura continued speaking, explaining everything they had discovered. She spoke about the blocked messages, the missing reports, and the small group inside the Council trying to control decisions. She did not accuse anyone directly. She did not use anger. She only shared facts. When she finished, she said, "Humanity invites the Council to speak with us openly. We invite every world to learn the truth with patience and calm. We believe the future can still be peaceful if we choose understanding instead of fear." Then she ended the message. Lily slowly disconnected the grid. The rings dimmed again, leaving the ship in silence. For a moment, no one moved. Then Daniel whispered, "The message is traveling. They will see." Ryan stepped beside Laura. "You spoke well," he said. "The galaxy will hear you." Laura looked at the dark space outside the window. She hoped he was right. Messages soon began to arrive. Lily received them so quickly that the screens filled with light. She tried to sort them, but there were too many. Ryan helped her read the first few messages. Some species expressed relief. They said the council's message had frightened them, but Laura's words brought calm. Others asked for more information. A few council members asked for private conversation, saying they had not supported the earlier decision. But there were also messages that made the crew pause. Some council leaders sent strong warnings. They said humans had no right to question council decisions. They demanded that humans stop sending messages. They accused humanity of spreading doubt. Daniel read one of these messages and shook his head. "These are from the members who hid the truth," he said. "They are afraid now." Ryan asked, "What do we do?" Laura answered calmly. "We do nothing. We wait. We let the galaxy decide." Over the next days, discussions spread across the galaxy. In city centers, people watched Laura's message again and again. In schools, teachers explained that fear can cause mistakes. On peaceful planets, leaders invited their citizens to talk about the future. Many worlds refused to support the Council's war declaration. They asked for open debate instead. Inside the council chamber, the tension grew. Some members demanded a new vote. Others accused the hidden group of misleading everyone. The chamber had not been this divided in many years. Meanwhile, the Horizon Dawn remained a symbol of calm. The crew did not send threats. They did not send demands. They only answered questions with simple explanations. They showed kindness, patience, and respect. One day, Horizon Dawn received a request from the council itself. They wanted Laura, Ryan, Daniel, and 2 others to come speak in the council chamber. They wanted humanity to explain their findings in person. Ryan raised his eyebrows. "It seems they are ready to talk." Laura nodded. "Then we will meet them." Conversation is the only way to rebuild trust. The ship traveled to the council's central station. When they arrived, thousands of beings gathered around the large hallways to see the humans enter. Some were curious. Some were nervous. But most were calm now, after hearing Laura's message. Laura walked forward with confidence. Ryan walked beside her. Daniel followed with his notebook. 2 other officers joined them quietly. Inside the chamber, the council members sat in their high seats. Some looked embarrassed. Some looked worried. The central leader, whose earlier message had caused all the confusion, looked especially tense. Laura bowed politely. "Thank you for meeting with us." The council speaker cleared his throat and said, "Your message has caused many questions. Some members believe the council has acted too quickly. Others believe humanity has misled the galaxy." Laura spoke with calm clarity. "We have not misled anyone. We only shared information that was hidden. If you wish, we can show you the records of the blocked messages and missing reports." Ryan stepped forward and offered a datapad. The council members hesitated, then accepted it. They read the information slowly. As they read, their expressions changed. Some looked surprised. Others looked disappointed. A few looked ashamed. Finally, one council member spoke. "Why were these reports hidden?" Daniel answered softly. "Because someone feared change. They feared what humanity represents." The chamber grew quiet. Laura added gently, "We do not want to replace anyone. We do not want to rule anyone. We only want to be part of the galaxy with respect and friendship." The council speaker looked down at his hands. After a long silence, he stood up and said, "Then there has been a great mistake." He spoke to the entire chamber. The declaration of war was made without full information. It was made with fear. That fear must end now. Many council members agreed. They stood from their seats. Voices filled the chamber as they discussed a new decision. After careful discussion, they voted to cancel the war declaration. They also voted to replace several members who had hidden information. The decision was announced across the galaxy within minutes. People celebrated in cities, on ships, and in small communities. The fear that had spread earlier began to fade. Calm and hope returned. Laura, Ryan, and the others left the chamber quietly. Outside, Rollin and Arlo were waiting for them. Rollin bowed gently and said, "Your people have shown great wisdom." Arlo smiled warmly. "The galaxy will remember this day." Laura felt relief wash over her. Humanity had not responded with force. They had responded with truth. And because of that, peace returned. When the Horizon Dawn began its journey home, the crew felt proud. They had stood for honesty when the galaxy was confused. They had stayed calm when others were afraid, and they had shown the true strength of humanity. Ryan stood in the observation room, looking out at the stars. Laura joined him. "We did not win anything," Ryan said softly. "We only reminded the galaxy that fear does not help anyone." Laura smiled. "And sometimes," she said, "a calm voice can change more than 1,000 ships." The Horizon Dawn continued through the quiet stars, carrying a simple truth that the galaxy would not forget. Humanity laughed when the Council declared war, and in the end, the galaxy understood why.